All right, we wish him well out there. We'll check back in on that in a little while. And now some new developments with Obamacare and questions about how many people have actually signed up for and received coverage. Administration officials telling lawmakers yesterday during one of the 3 hearings that happened, so much focus on this on the Hill yesterday, they're saying that it is now still unclear, really, how many Americans have signed up through the federal exchange who have actually paid for that coverage. Watch this.
The most important number, as has been reported by many news outlets, is whether individuals have paid. Does the administration collect this information? I'm just asking, do you collect this information?
Right now, we're not, but we will be.
When?
As soon as that functionality is built.
So we don't know at this point how many people have actually paid for coverage.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, right? All right, let's bring in Charles Payne of the Fox Business Network. Charles, this is what we, began to learn about shortly after the rollout, that the back end wasn't quite fixed. Right. The payment structure of the website wasn't really ready to roll. And it looks like, all these months later, we still don't.
We still don't. I mean, the shocking admission that the billing aspect of this is not in place, which is the key conduit. If you actually go on the site and you think you've bought or you've attempted to buy insurance and you find out, hey, it was all sort of a Potemkin village. It never existed. It looked pretty good on the outside, but there was nothing behind the wall to at least connect your potential payment to insurance. So are you insured? It's beyond shocking, but it also points to some other things. Let's remember, what we do know is that 79% of people who have signed up are getting some form of a subsidy. That leaves a very small pool, Martha, of actual people who are going to pay full freight, and we're not even sure how many of them are paying.
So when do we find, this is the question he asked, when? And you would think that the administration would want to know these numbers because they have to. There has to be somebody in some small room who's doing the math and who is collecting the checks and saying, this is how much, because really this what it comes down to, is how much money we've got in our hands from this program so far.
Yeah, well, maybe there's a whole lot of people in a big room doing this because obviously they're behind the 8 ball. Ultimately, this has got to work mathematically. Now, we know that there are less than 25% of the demographic young people that they need to make this work actuarially. You take into account the services that are going to be rendered. So that's already a gigantic red flag. Now, what are we getting in the coffers? What can we actually pay out? It's so disastrous and it's so worrisome that you also know if you connect the dots, this means that they're going to have to come up with this money somewhere else. What does that mean? An additional tax? Where? Who? How? It's just not going to pay for itself the way it's established already. It's going to implode on itself economically, and that means some emergency measures, and a lot of people watching this show are going to probably end up footing the bill.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
I like to start your weekend off right.
Thanks, Charles. Good to see you too, buddy.
See you later.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.